If you had a job where you come to work and people clap for you, it would change your entire mood.
We don't have any plans at the moment to do PC.
Or you can grow a conscience in the next 5 minutes and see where that takes you.
Don't this hit make my people wanna stop? Don't this hit make my people wanna stop? Don't this hit make my people wanna stop?
Watch the series finale of X-Men next Saturday morning. Check your local listing.
What the hell going on?
Oh, we heard tale of a party. Gangnam Style. Gangnam Style.
There can be only one magical Negro.
It won't take long when there's a song to help you set the pace.
This is pathetic.
Where we used to live.
Life could be worse.
This is the worst.
This is the worst.
This is the worst.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Hello, my baby. Hello, my honey. Hello, my ragtime gal.
Pai, ele na vida chega aí. Ai, menina vida chega aí. Vai, quebra, tem mais, vai. Menina chega aí. Vai, olha danado. Eita! Vai.
And the Disney stock just keeps going down and down and down.
I'm bag of pixie dust. Contraband.
They're going to do the Mary Poppins thing. They're going to do it. They're going to do it.
Magic mirror on the wall. The fairest one of all.
Oh, bitch, you killed Kenny.
Kenny.
You fat hoe.
I get it. I'm not persecuted. I'm just an ass.
All right. Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to my channel. I'm Lorena Creole, and of course, welcome to the Spice Lounge podcast. Here, we just keep it real. We let it fly with the spicy conversation and hot takes, because we just keep it real on this show. Because authenticity is the new currency. It's the new currency of the realm, I should say, to borrow a phrase from one of the Pirates of the Caribbean movies. But folks, we have got so much to talk about tonight. We've got to talk about Superman, specifically James Gunn's Superman. It turns out that that phrase, the American way, might not be in that film. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the actress Nico Parker, who says, I pretty much will paraphrase, I don't care what y'all think about my hair. I got paid, so I'm doing my job. So we're going to be talking about that. And of course, we are also going to be talking about the movie Sinners, which is so went under so many people's radars, because it is a banger. I love talking about it. And some folks out there have their, opinions. Opinions are like ears. Everybody's got two pairs. Some people think it's overrated, and some people think it's, oh my God, racist against white people. I know, right? Maybe we didn't see the whole movie together. I don't know, but we are going to talk about that. So, first of all, I am so happy to have my friends here. And let me pull up the first one before I pull up my guest who is returning. I cannot wait to bring him on. Hey, Erica, how you doing, my dear?
Brewing me some coffee, but doing good.
Oh my gosh, what kind of coffee do you have?
Oh, I love the Gavalia or Javalia
Javalia
Colombian
Cafe.
roast.
Mm-hmm.
Because I want to eat this cookie with it.
Is that a cookie or a muffin? It's cute.
Oh, it is delicious. There's some lady out here started a business baking cookies, and
Mhm.
she's got a stand at the BX. And let me tell you, I am a repeat offender.
She probably has some set over to the side for you. You know, like, yeah, I got your stash for you.
Different flavors. So this month she's got like her usual chocolate, double chocolate, and but
Mhm.
the special flavor is strawberry cheesecake. And let me tell you, I've never had a strawberry cheesecake cookie. Oh, you just don't know what heaven tastes like.
See, sweets are proof that God loves us and wants us to be happy. At least that's what I tell people. But speaking of making people happy, I am so glad this friend of the channel is back. Of course, folks, welcome Kamran, Pasha, Hollywood insider, producer, screenwriter extraordinaire. How you doing, my dear? And welcome.
Thank you. It's such a delight to be back. I haven't been on the channel much in the last year, and I want to correct that because I'm always so happy to be on with Lorena and the lovely Erica. And you always have such a decent and gracious chat, which is a little bit of an unusual thing in YouTube nowadays, to have such a kindly and, well debated chat that debates with dignity. And so I'm excited to be engaging it.
Oh, well, thank you. I do. I'm kind of biased. I say my chat is the best in the world. We don't have to agree on everything, but we do have to treat each other with civility. So that's the only thing that really matters. Because you know what? When you're in the South, you're expected to debate, but you are expected to be cordial. That's how it's supposed to go. So
Well, one of the greatest elements of, I think, capturing that is those sequences in Tombstone, right? Where you have the gunslingers, talking elegantly to each other in Latin, right? Because that's very much the culture of 19th century, Tombstone and the Old West. That's something that's rarely shown, but the idea of the South having this, this genteel, even the gunslingers are educated in Latin and multiple languages and have a code of honor because there is no law and order. So that's something permeated through the time and the century past.
Man, that's a good movie. I haven't seen Tombstone in a long time. I need to correct that. But definitely, I see you guys coming in. Over 50 of you guys in here so far between YouTube and between X. So please, over on X, please do heart this stream, retweet it out, and if you're on YouTube, please do thumbs up over there on YouTube, because that lets the algorithm know where I am and what content I've got going on. Julie Ed, my dear, from across the pond, been a member for 4 months. Thank you so very much, my dear. Good morning, Lorena, Erica, Kamran, Pasha.
Got a lovely baby in the photo.
Yes, those are her grandbabies. Aren't they just beautiful?
It's nothing better than be a grandparent. It's amazing. The people that are the hardest parents are always the most schmoochy grandparents. That amazes me, right? And then they don't let you discipline your kids when they were the harshest disciplinarians, right?
Mm-hmm. Now they're just like, oh, why can't they have some more sugar?
Oh, my grandparents called me rotten.
Yeah, mine did too.
But that's the way it's supposed to be. That's the way it's supposed to be because there's a different dynamic with grandchildren, because there's a psychological, maybe if you want to use the word evolutionary, it's an evolutionary thing about the grandchildren represent the actual success of the gene pool, that you've actually reproduced beyond one generation, and there's a likelihood that you will continue. So there's a automatic desire to protect that.
Absolutely. I just remember asking my grandma, can I get a bigger check for my birthday, please? And I learned the art of negotiation.
Which is a central thing in Sinners. We're going to talk about that when we get to it.
We sure are. We sure are. Civility, take the fun out of it. Why don't you? Oh, civility doesn't mean that you don't have fun.
No, you can have
Civility is civility is why my family uses the term heifer instead of the B word, because we want to be civil.
And it's more poetic that way. Like I said, go watch Tombstone again.
Yes.
They're shooting each other with civility.
Yes. Yes. Oh gosh, Erica's cracking up. 'Cause I think I told you this story, right? About finding out what female boss was in Spanish.
No, I don't know this story.
Well, boss in Spanish is jefe.
Yeah.
Female boss in Spanish is jefa, which sounds a lot like heifer, doesn't it?
Heifer.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a lot of interesting Spanish cognates like embarazada, right? Which has had different meaning when we hear it in English, right? So, but it's also
I laughed for like 5
I know a few
minutes.
Spanish words. I know a few Spanish words, Erica. Still my high school Spanish still working.
Everything. Mira jefa.
I said, oh my gosh, my grandma was cussing people out, but they didn't know she was cussing.
La jefa es embarazada.
All right. Well, folks, we have got some great hot topics to go through here with you guys. But first, let's see who we got in the chat. Let's see, we got DJ Knight here. How you doing? We have got Snortapoopus. Yes, one of my amazing wrenches. Hello, humans and other critters. So good to see you, my dear. Who else we got? We've got Dylan Soup in the chat. Hello. I still got to see Final Destination, the newest one. I have to see it. Everything's just been getting in the way. It's just like I have to go see that.
I think it's the best one since the original. And that's how you reboot a franchise like that for the next generation, is that people who hadn't seen the original, it has that feeling you got from the original. And then of course, Tony Todd is in it for a really lovely cameo that just touches your heart, right? He's in there. And so it's a great movie.
I love the series though. It's just like the best kills. It's kind of the way they build the kills up is kind of like how, well, when Saw was really good, I think so. How they build the mystery around who's there in the game for Saw. So that's what it reminds me of. But yeah, I have got to get to the theater so I can see that before everybody tells me what happened. Hey, Erica, hanging in the chat and on the panel as well. We have got Sonia Pantoja in the chat. Hello, my dear.
Isn't that Pantoja? Are we not doing Spanish pronunciation nowadays? Is it Pantoja?
We're in Florida, so we do Spanglish.
Okay.
Which means I can't roll my R to save my life. All right, I just can't do it. Hey, Brian.
So you say Jesus instead of Jesus? Okay.
Oh no, I will say Jesus because saying Jesus, that's just, oh my gosh, that is
it's
like
weird. I know
it's really weird. Like, because I remember when I was a kid living in Philadelphia, and this was when the Dominicans started to get into Major League Baseball. So I was surprised. I'm like, that guy looks black. He's Dominican. Okay, so his name was Ivan de Jesus, right? So the sportscaster says, and from the Dominican Republic, we have Ivan de Jesus. I'm like, oh my God.
Oh man. My dad's middle name is De Jesus, but they dropped it when he moved to the United States. So he doesn't have a middle name supposedly, but it's actually Eduardo de Jesus.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, I mean, the way many names in many cultures have evolved is often, what you would call the middle name, or even the surname reflects the region they're from or the community they're connected to. Like De Jesus, I mean, that may be linked to his religious heritage, or it may be linked to a particular community that he was involved in, at that in back home. Which was where was he originally from?
Yep. So my maiden last name is Lugo, and he's always told me our roots come from Lugo, Spain.
Okay. So we got lots of Moors here. We got 3 different Moors on the screen right now.
Yeah, I mean, my 5th great grandfather, Jose Sanchez de Ortigosa, and for some reason his son dropped the Ortigosa and stuck with Sanchez. I'm like, what's the story behind that? They're from Ronda. Well, he was from Ronda, Spain, because he was a sailor in the Spanish Navy. But I'm like, how did they wind up just dropping that name? Maybe because it was too long to write. I have no idea. But that's where, out of all things, you pick the most common Spanish surnames to stick with, which would be Sanchez instead of Ortigosa. Let's see. Hey, Roadblock 2024. Sinners is definitely overrated and was good, but not the masterpiece it's getting promoted as. Well, we'll agree to disagree, and we'll talk about that.
We're going to talk about it, and you'll be welcome to chat to disagree with us.
Yes.
We're going to talk about, I think Larry and I largely are in the masterpiece area. Certainly I am, but this is going to be an interesting engaging with the chat.
Yeah, exactly. We're not an echo chamber in here at all. Weird. Hey, Tom L, good to see you. We have got Mark Daly. Greetings from the Panhandle of Florida, aka South Georgia. Exactly. Good to see you, my dear.
I'm jealous. Wouldn't mind living up there.
So
military community there.
Is the Panhandle culturally different from the rest of from sort of the penis of Florida? I mean, I don't know what else you describe that thing. I don't know.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. The Panhandle. That's the Panhandle. I pretty much call that
the perineum. It's the perineum versus the organ. I don't.
I guess, or if you think of it like a gun, Miami's like further down the handle, and the barrel and the slider is the Panhandle. Because in Florida, the further north you go, the more southern it is.
Southern, I guess. Yep.
Yeah.
The accent starts to change. So when you're getting into northern Florida, closer into Georgia and Alabama, you're getting more of those southern accents, and the southern culture is more, we'll say, fluent.
And more like traditional. And then once you go south of Daytona, you kind of, forget the theme parks. You kind of get into that like Spanglish area. Mm-hmm. And basically they call Miami North Cuba.
Okay.
Yeah, that's Little Havana.
Mm-hmm. Yep, got Little Havana, Little Haiti, Hialeah. Mm-hmm. Unless my relatives aren't.
I had friends in not friends. We had family in Hialeah for years, and they moved over to Miami Lakes.
Yeah, Hialeah is like Grand Theft Auto, y'all. I'm just saying.
But back in the 80s, it wasn't like that, was it?
No, it wasn't. It was
when I was little, I remember.
Area.
Yeah, when I was little, I remember going to their house, and it was a big house, and I was like, wow, it's a nice area. Then all of a sudden, as I got older, it's just got this ghetto reputation. I'm like, what happened?
Yeah, it went to hell on a rocket, I tell you. Thanatos is here. Good to see you. Let's see. Hello, Dance Life at the Kingdom says, I find Sinners to be overhyped. Well, like I said, we're going to talk about that. We're going to give our hypothesis or our reasons why we do not think that it is.
At least the two of us of us have that opinion. I've now seen this film 4 times, so I may see it again. So
yes, but that's the cool thing about art, to be able to debate what it means, what it means to you.
Well, the important thing is people have actually seen it. I've had people say they've seen it, and then they repeating various talking points that I've heard. Then they actually grill them, realize they haven't seen anything, but they won't admit that they haven't seen it. They feel like, but why do they feel the need to comment and pretend that they have? There's something about this movie that triggers some very strange behavior. I'm not discounting those who don't share my opinion on it, but I am noticing some very strange behavior on this film with people making lots of opinions while not admitting to having not seen it. And I'm sure the people in the chat have seen it, but there's something about this film that triggers people, and then we'll talk about it.
I haven't seen it.
Yeah. You won't pretend otherwise. It's really good.
It's really good, but yeah, you're right. I have noticed that, and I've actually been calling that out ever since the film came out, challenging certain people who were just like, well, it's this, that, and the other thing. I'm like, did you see the movie? No. Okay, well then you don't know what it is. If you've seen the movie, let's debate about that. But
yeah.
But I remembered a lot of what the both of you have said combined, like the historical references had. If I don't have that going into it, I don't know what my opinion would be. So now when I go to watch it, I'm going to have y'all's context. So might have a better understanding of what's in front of me once I finally see the whole thing through.
I think the context in the film is self-explanatory. I learned a lot more about the history after I watched the film, but I understood it completely what they were trying to do. And then as I would later learn, there was so much more history that I didn't know about Mississippi and the time period and the Irish community there and the Chinese community. I didn't know these things, and that made me appreciate it even. The movie will stand alone when you do see it.
Yeah, which is why I take particular, not issue with it, but culturally, I'm more plugged in than some others may be, considering that I have family who lived in that area. I've been to that area. I know stories about that era. So it's me. Osvaldo Lopez says, hi, Lorena. Great to see Kamran on here. Yes. We're trying to get him on here monthly to hang out with us. Let's see. We have also got Jonathan G94. Hello. Says, I'm in Eastern Oklahoma and it's the South here. Yeah, I've been to Oklahoma. Yeah, I've been there. I get you.
I've not been.
Mullet.
I need to go. I mean, there's so much of this country I haven't seen, but I'm delighted. I've seen places I wanted to see forever. I went to Montana for a friend's wedding, and it was really beautiful. And so I'm glad I'm seeing more of this country because here in LA, it's always flyover country. Well, flyover country is beautiful, and I'm glad I'm seeing more of it with time.
Mullet toss is famous in the Panhandle. Yes, we talked about it on the Welcome to Florida show. Yeah, the mullet toss. Fold the mullet and throw it across the Alabama state line.
Well, I guess
it's
there's
a whole thing.
I'm hearing that.
It's a whole thing. They raise money for charity. When they do it, it's one of those.
Oh, it's a real thing.
Yes,
I thought it was just sarcasm.
No, and we're going to talk about the American way, and there's a lot of the American way that's quite improbable. It's quite improbable, and yet it's there.
Folks with mullets throwing mullets. Yes, exactly. Hey, Mama Lugo says, hey, everyone, I'm early for the next show. Erica, they are back in Hialeah.
Yeah, that's my mom. So I spoke too soon. Apparently the family moved back to Hialeah.
Oh.
No, sci-fi for me. It's wonderful to see you.
Sci-fi TV for me. I haven't seen you in a while, so thanks for being here.
I've been to his home. I've been to his home. I was going to ghost hunt, and turns out he lived like half an hour, 45 minutes away from where I was going on this ghost hunt, right? And I drove out to see him, and we actually did a video in his house, in his studio in the basement, and he has a lovely wife, and it's really delightful. It's a great channel.
Awesome. Yeah, I follow you on Twitter, so I always try to follow what you're doing and seeing when you go live. So welcome. Let's see, Summer Horse. I hope I said hello to you. If I did not, I apologize. Oops, I keep missing people. Chat's going too fast. Hey, Kiss My Grits. I was recently watching Family Feud, and the question was to say a man's name that begins with H. The contestant said Jose. Whoopsie. I wonder what Steve Harvey said.
Steve Harvey is great because he always reacts like what? I mean, he always has a very natural reaction, right? And he doesn't hold it back, right?
He's perfect on there. Oh my gosh. Hey, Shinotsky, it's a very good film. I don't hold too many films as masterpieces. My issue is that it felt like the story was over once the vampires died. Then it goes on a shooting spree. Well, we are actually going to talk.
We're going to talk about that because your opinion, Latino Slant, my friend Paulie has that opinion. I don't share that opinion. I believe I understand exactly why he did it, and I think the movie would have had a whole. And we'll talk about it. I know why he did it, in my opinion, because it's all
absolutely. And let's see. As a proud Florida man, I can confirm that indeed, the further north you go, the further south you are. Yes, that is very, 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 very true. We have 95 of you folks in here with us, which is so awesome. Thank you so much. We've got our guest, Kamran Pasha, on the show because you know what? He gives us the explanation about just why is Hollywood so weird with certain things. And instead of just postulate, we can talk with somebody who's familiar. familiar about it. But before we get to film, I got to talk about this.
Yeah.
Because Sly and the Family Stone was, I believe, one of the first bands where they had white and black people singing together. Now, I just remember the Sly Family Stone song, Everyday People, which I thought was so cool.
Sure.
And actually sung that in school, and everything. But yeah, one of the pioneers of funk music, which I absolutely love to death. But yeah, Sly Stone, not Sylvester Stallone, because some people were like, Sylvester Stallone died. I'm like, no. So Sly from Sly and the Family Stone. Leader of the funk revolutionary Sly and the Family Stone dies at age 82. Yeah.
No. And I do think that band in particular was one of the first really integrated bands. I think Elvis Presley actually in the 70s, when he got into Vegas, had an integrated act, which was revolutionary at the time, but they started it. And Elvis is, I think, a lot more progressive than people realize, in the sense of he was ahead of his time, was very, there's a bizarro narrative that I've seen from young people that think Elvis was racist. They just project onto him because he's from the South or whatever. And he was actually quite ahead of his time when it came to race, even if his manager didn't want him to get involved in these issues. But, but it's really wonderful that this band really started off. It was 66, I believe they were founded.
I think one of the worst, I don't know if you call it propaganda, if you call it prejudice, or whatever, is that everyone in the South is racist.
Yeah.
I've never understood that. I've had to basically shame my high school history class when they tried to say that. I'm like, have you been to the South? No. So what the heck do you know? You don't know what you're talking about, do you? And for some reason, people get this idea that that's what it is in the South, that everyone there is racist. And it's just like, no, you had black people and white people living together, poor black people, poor white people, all there together. Yes, there was racism in the Jim Crow era, but a lot of that was class-wise.
Sure. Well, that's the thing we can't talk about in America is class, right? I mean, that's in many things. I think the many issues. In fact, I think Singers addresses it in a very subtle way. The issue that hits people is class, and we hide it. I mean, race is a real issue in this country, always has been, but it's been about power and class. And that, Britain is very openly classist. They are a classist society.
Yes, they are.
Proud of it. They don't want to change that. They like it. They like being that way. America doesn't fit our egalitarian sense of ourselves, and so we will hide the class conversation behind race, because that seems to be an easier way to talk about power differentials.
Absolutely. And that's something I learned when I visited the UK. I remember I was standing next to some gentleman from Nigeria, and I'm just like there on the train. I guess the conductor came through, or I guess I don't know, the guy takes the tickets and everything. He was obviously mixed race. He was very polite to me, extremely condescending to the Nigerian man next to me. So that was something else to see. I'm like, wow.
The Brits like to brag that they abolished slavery decades before America did. Yeah, he didn't abolish your attitude though. But that's another thing. But this issue of class is getting. We're talking this issue of Southern race and the fact that people. I think it's the projection, especially from other parts of the country, the United States, where you hide your own racism because you project it onto the South, which is a point that is made in Sinners, where the devil versus the devil that you don't know, and the devil that's hiding in Chicago, right? That's pretending it's not the devil.
Yes, exactly. Again, like my Jim Crow South raised grandfather said, I would rather trust the racist who's racist to my face than be up north and people say one thing to your face and say other things behind your back.
That's all of Hollywood. That's all of Los Angeles, right? And we'll talk about that when we get there.
Yeah. Also, if you have Netflix, watch the Led Zeppelin documentary. I did not know that Robert Plant was inspired by Little Richard.
Well, I mean, that doesn't surprise me, but it's, it's Little Richard was really revolutionary. People didn't understand how far ahead he was.
he so was, but it's like I wasn't surprised, but I didn't know that. I was like, really? Because I'd heard tales from other ones, but that was cool. So if you haven't seen that on Netflix, you need to see it. It is absolutely a cool thing to watch, for real. Well, let's get to this first hot topic story coming from Bounding into Comics.
Okay, here we go.
Update. James Gunn doesn't just omit the American way in Superman, he changes it to the human way. Now, I take a little bit of an issue with the title
of this piece of this article.
Of this piece of this article, because there isn't proof that it's changed in the film itself.
So where are they claiming to get this from? Is it rumor?
I'm gonna get to it. So first of all, it looked like the American way wasn't making its way into the latest Superman film, but there turns out to be more to it than that. James Gunn isn't leaving the old slogan out of the marketing, but he is changing it to fit those modern sensibilities. So this is from JB Augustine. Now, where they're getting this from?
Okay.
Someone apparently found one of the Superman toys. And I'm going to go over here. Okay. So apparently this is on the back of the toy. Okay. Superman must reconcile his alien Kryptonian heritage with his human upbringing as reporter Clark Kent, as the embodiment of truth, justice, and the human way.
So that's just from a toy in the back of it. Do we know where that toy is being sold?
Nothing I know about where the toy's been sold. Nothing that says like it was like in a Target or a Walmart or anything like that.
Or even in which country it's being sold. I mean, that could be being sold in Britain, right? I mean,
exactly.
And then they're not going to be interested in seeing the American way on a British toy. If that's the case, it may very well be here in the US. But I'm saying that already there are things that marketing people in toy companies do worldwide that are for their markets. I mean, I don't know if that's what happened here, but we should be open to that possibility.
Yeah, I mean, Chris Gore had leaked the initial intel about this that I'd heard about, that that he had heard about that, but this, I'm just looking, I'm like, okay, well, it's a back of a toy package, and I think it's true. James Gunn actually approves the toys or the writing that's on the toys, so I think the leap that this article makes is that because it's on the back of a toy package with the verbiage that James Gunn has approved, that the American way is going to be admitted in the movie Superman. Now, your girl takes it like this. I need to see the film myself to see if that is exactly what the deal is going to be, because it's like, who are these toys for? Are they just like collectors, or Kamran, like you were saying, is it in a different country? I don't know. But I do know that I do not think that it's healthy for anybody to get up in arms about this when it has not been proven yet.
Well, Shinatsky has a couple of very interesting comments, which I know are true, and I know Shinatsky well, and he's very knowledgeable about history and about film history. We talk a lot about it when we hang out. So if we want to bring up some of those comments, so this is cipher for me. I heard that this particular slogan is on the merch, is going out worldwide. Again, just be aware that it is not shocking if toys are being sold worldwide that some marketing executive may decide to use human, because they don't want, because in the same way that there are many nationalistic Americans, and seeing more of them today, there are nationalistic Japanese and nationalistic Russians and nationalistic Ukrainians, and they might just not want to see American way. I mean, you may not like that, but if the story is being told worldwide, you can at least understand why a corporate suit might want to push that.
Right, exactly. By the way, it was originally Truth and Justice. The American way was added at the request of the War Department in World War II.
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay, that I did not. I didn't know that.
And then there's then there were, and I've seen the original ads, and Shinovsky references, let's just say, less than racially sensitive ad that Superman was put in during the war. So he's been used for a lot of purposes. Slap a jap, I believe, quote was the have Superman tells you to slap a jab, buy war bonds, right? So, he served a lot of purposes that maybe Joel Siegel and Schuster didn't necessarily envision when they created the character, right?
It's up there with Donald Duck as that Austrian with the mustache from that.
Yeah. I will say this. There's often a knee-jerk reaction that proves to be inaccurate, but you can't get it out of people's heads, right? Yeah, well, we might see it. I mean, if I was a filmmaker, I would have him holding the American flag. There's nothing wrong with that. And that actually great. That references the point I was going to make. I want to bring that comment back up about them holding the American flag. So one of my favorite movies of all time is First Man, right? Is the movie First Man by Damon Chazelle, right? Didn't particularly like Babylon. Maybe I'll give it a second chance, but I loved La La Land, and The First Man is one of my favorite movies. It's a movie about Neil Armstrong and his life, right? Which is really it really moved me. I saw that 5 times, including in IMAX, right? And and there was a controversy that was created on Twitter at the time by various more conservative commentators because there was some interview that Chazelle, who is French, Chazelle's French, did some interview where he said, that during the moon landing he wanted to focus on the universal values rather than on the flag, and so people said, well, he didn't show the planting the flag. That's not true. It's shown in a wide shot, but you see the American flag on the moon that Buzz Aldrin and Neil Armstrong have planted. Right, it's there. But he was pointing out, I didn't want to make a huge big deal of that, planting the flag, but it's there. It's on the moon. It doesn't hide it. It's there. You see it. You see it very clearly. And there's actually a lot of flags in the movie. There's a great deal of American rah-rah patriotism in the movie itself, and it ends with actually footage of real footage of the actors who play Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin are in their quarantine after returning from the moon, and they're just watching news. They can't get out and see people, and this is actual news footage from all over the world about how much people were proud of America for doing this. And this is actual news footage that they were, and how America led the way for humanity. So this is actually a very pro-American film. But that one comment he made to some European newspaper, right, was then blown up by conservative commentators, and people boycotted the film. I mean, or at least said they boycotted the film. And I thought, maybe if you watch the movie, you'd walk away going, rah, rah, America, because there's lots of flags flapping and there's lots of praise of American ingenuity and courage to do it. It's very clear in the film. There's no anti-American agenda. It's quite the opposite. But it became a meme and a narrative, and people refused to see the film, and they lost out on, I think, one of the great stories of American heroism in the process. So I think we need to be careful when agitators for clicks start creating momentum around conversations like this.
Yeah, absolutely. Great point, Kamran. Erica, so I'll ask you, just hypothetically, if it turns out that James Gunn omits the American way in the Superman movie, would that change your opinion about possibly seeing it?
I mean, I really wasn't going to go see it anyways. It just doesn't draw me in. I don't know. It just, the ads, it's nothing against it. I'm just not interested. My thing is like, on the toy thing, does it really matter? I mean, it's still Superman at the end of the day, right? And he's saving
it's one word
the
on the back.
world and saving. I mean, it's a word, yeah. And who's reading stuff like that on a packaging of a toy? I don't pay attention to that when I'm buying a toy, and a child doesn't read boxes like that. I never did as a kid. I couldn't wait to rip open the box to get to the toy.
And it's like, and I'm not. Oh, sorry, my dear. I didn't interrupt you.
I just don't understand what really the big deal is, and I'm like, yeah, whatever.
I mean, I don't either. I'm just like, where's the original box? That's just me. I'm just like,
well, again, but this is a mature conversation because this channel doesn't need to agitate people to get people to watch it, right? And I think, unfortunately, there's a lot of people that thrive on agitation, which I don't think benefits the cultural discourse, and I don't think it benefits people. Like, I think Gunn really is trying to make something that is an homage to the sense of Superman. I think many people who are maybe upset about this were also some of the people that liked the recent versions of Superman, the Man of Steel, that don't really feel like
Don't
homage.
get me started on that.
And look, our beloved friend, Abu Nas.
I know. I keep breaking his heart.
Release
I
a
keep
Snyder
breaking his
Cut.
heart.
He broke your heart because he forgot you were black, so it's balanced out.
Yeah, that's true. He did.
Okay. He's like, so that's what. But it's a lot of people seem to love those movies that I don't think really reflect the values of the American way of Superman that I loved with Christopher Reeve. When I'm Superman being, hanging out with suicide bombers that blow up Congress, he don't do nothing to stop it. I don't know how much that feels like the American way to me, but a lot of people that are all about the American way seem to like that. So I don't know.
Okay, so but with the superhero things, and this is across the board. I'm not what you call an avid follower of it. And I didn't read the comics because as a girl growing up, I really didn't care. But to me, they're just out there saving the world, not necessarily just one country. That was my understanding growing up, is the superheroes are saving the world. They're not just saving any one particular society or country. So I would have never even caught this, honestly, because it's not like I read the comics and I get all into the weeds and the details. To me, it's a superhero. He's out there saving the world. It's just a different type of superhero than Batman, or than some other, whatever named superhero. But
well, and what was unique about Superman when he premiered in the late 30s was that Siegel and Schuster created very much, I believe, wanted to make a universal superhero. At a time when the world was quite divided, World War II was coming. There was extreme versions of nationalism spreading where people just, my group versus your group, my group is superior. We saw where that led. And so this was a very revolutionary thing for these two comic book artists to create this character. And the fact that they didn't add the American way until it was added later during the war, suggests that they always wanted this character to be seen because he is an alien. He is an alien sent from another planet, a dying planet, to Earth, and to save humanity. And that, I think, was their vision. I don't think Schuster and Siegel ever saw him as a uniquely American hero. I think they were trying desperately to create a universal hero when that was uncomfortable in the cultural climate of the time.
Because I'd always heard like truth, justice, and the American way, and I'd heard that. But it's like it wouldn't deter me from seeing it. I'm a DC normie completely. I just know that I don't believe that Zack Snyder should touch a Superman film ever.
He makes other good movies. He should focus on those.
300 was banging. 300 was great. Man of Steel, I really don't want to start spitting and my head turning around and everything.
So my goal is become a great filmmaker so that I can make the other version of 300, the Immortals, where the Persians are the heroes. Let's tell it from their point of view. The Persians are trying to spread a universal culture versus these Spartans who are killing babies to create a super race, which is kind of the other side of that story, right? So let's tell the Immortal story.
No, I'd pay to see that one. But yeah, with this movie, I'm a normie. I just want to see it, and it depends on what's going on. I mean, it's obvious, he's from America. Changing it to the human way, it's like, again, I have to see it. It's just like, really, or was it? How does it come off? That's going to be the thing. And I'm not going to say anything because if I do and it shows up in the darn movie, I'm going to have to talk to somebody. But I have an idea in my head how they might say this, but I want to see the movie to find out what happens. But right now, I think this is pretty much a nothing burger, considering that it's from the back of a toy that no one's really seen, like a physical toy of that. And I think it's just kicking the hornet's nest. So it's like, kind of, can we just not do the Chicken Little thing right now? But speaking of Chicken Little, new Wonder Woman movie is being written right now. James Gunn confirms. So Erica, did you see the Wonder Woman movies at all?
Nope.
The first one I thought was very good. The second one was a piece of trash, and it was
Yeah, I
for me, it
agree.
was an offensive piece of trash because there was some really ugly choices about how they did stuff in the Middle East that was intentional, that was really shocking to me, that went against the values of the first film, which was very universal.
Yeah, the first one was amazing. The second one was ass. It was horrible. It was horrible. I didn't like it. The best part was Linda Carter showing up in the end credits. That was the best part of the whole entire thing.
They should have done that in the first movie.
Exactly. They should have, but now we have this. So reading this, it just kind of seems like, he confirms they're going to be writing a new Wonder Woman movie, but there's a bunch of other movies that are coming out even before that even starts. Like there's the Supergirl movie that's coming out, the one with Millie Alcock, who I do want to see that because
She's a good actress and great, happy people. She's a nice white blonde girl. You got it.
There you go.
She's a good actress. I'm looking forward to it.
And she's wearing the skirt, not a skin suit. She's wearing the skirt, just like Supergirl's supposed to. But yeah, so Kamran, what do you think, given the state right now where Gunn's kind of just about to get one film out of the gate? Do you even think that it's even necessary to have a Wonder Woman movie?
I mean, I think, just like in Hollywood, it's all talk, right? I mean, it's all talk. Everyone's developing something. Everyone's always making something, right? I got lots of stuff in development. Everyone's got, and everything's always being written. There's always some script floating around that may not end up being the final script, probably isn't. I am hopeful a little bit more than Erica. I mean, I personally liked these trailers. I think they're closer in vision to the character as I understand it. And I think the casting is very good. So I'm intrigued to see where they're going to take the Superman movie. I think it's going to do well. I mean, there may be people that aren't going to watch it, maybe amongst YouTube, but I think the general populace is going to watch it, and I think it's going to be very successful. Like I kind of knew that Lilo and Stitch was going to be a massive hit. Like Hollywood is kind of shocked by that, but I knew it was going to be number one movie again and again every week, right? It's because it's an incredible, heartwarming movie, and I loved it, and I think it's going to do very well. And there will then be demand for Wonder Woman. And we should, for those of us that love the character of Wonder Woman, we've been kind of deprived of this character in Hollywood. We had Linda Carter's seminal take of it. There were multiple efforts to do Wonder Woman shows that were killed. There was one that David E. Kelly was doing. And I believe that lovely actress from Friday Night Lights, the very tall, beautiful, she was an agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. I'm blanking on her name. Do you know who I'm talking about? She did a pilot, and that never went. So we've been kind of deprived of seeing Wonder Woman. And then we had one excellent movie and then one terrible movie. And I think Wonder Woman's reappearance in the Snyder film wasn't well done. So I would like to see this character well done. I would like to see this character capture the values and the ideas of the character. And here's the interesting thing. I went to business school with the granddaughter of the creator of Wonder Woman, the guy who invented Wonder Woman and created it. And
really,
let's just say the family has done quite well from that, right? And they were invited. The whole family was invited to the first movie, and I saw pictures of them at the premiere. I congratulated them on Facebook. I'm proud of them, right? I went to business school with them, right? And so the thing that people may not realize is the creator of of Wonder Woman was kind of what we would, let's just say, a little bit on the alternative side in his private life. He was into BDSM, and he modeled Wonder Woman on the BDSM women in his life, the lassos and the costumes. And I mean, there was actually an independent film made about him and his wife and their BDSM lifestyle that led to the creation of Wonder Woman. And that was confirmed to me by his granddaughter, that they were essentially swingers. They're like, yeah, it was our family. My grandpa was a swinger who liked whips and stuff, and he thought he could create this sexy woman. So there's some origin stuff that people may not be aware of in this character. And I don't think I think James Gunn isn't going, bless you, I don't think James Gunn is going to go there, but I think that this character didn't originate with the same purity of intent, let's say, that Superman did. So I think we should be a little bit patient with it.
Well, I love the original Wonder Woman TV series. That was my thing. So I would love to have another great Wonder Woman movie. Definitely. definitely indeed. All right. Well, going over to this next story, 100 folks watching. Thank you so much. We've got Kamran Pasha as a special guest. So please do hit that like button. Sure would appreciate it. This I want to talk about. I want to talk about this because I've talked about it several times now on X when Nico Parker was announced to play the role of Astrid in the live action How to Train Your Dragon.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, yeah, I can see that. You know, put a blonde wig on her. She looked like a shield maiden. I can actually see that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let's just say we have some people on X who were basically like, Astrid isn't supposed to be black.
Here we go.
I'm like, have you seen Nico Parker? Do you know anything about her? They're like, no, just, Astrid just shouldn't be black. So I'm like, okay, so you're just making a judgment based on what she looks like. I mean, if you want to get into ethnicity, her mom, Thandie Newton, who I love her to death.
An incredible actress. Oh my God.
Yeah. Yeah. She's half white. I think I forget which African country her mother is from. But her mother's biracial. Her father is white. So it's like, are y'all saying she's not white enough to play the Viking? I need that.
Yes, they are saying.
Yes, they are saying that. So I'm just like, I don't get it. I don't get it. If she doesn't pass your litmus test, there's an issue or there's a problem. So that was very disheartening to see. My only thing is, I'm like, just put her in a blonde wig. I don't really see, the problem that it'll work. Well, when the photos came out of what her version of Astrid looked like,
mm-hmm.
The outrage engine started up again. I was just kind of like, yeah, I don't know. No, that's really not doing it for me, but it's not my choice. We'll see if she can act in the film. But a lot of people took serious, well, we'll just put it this way, certain individuals took serious offense to this with what she looked like. Me, I was just like, you know what? No, I need her blonde. But other than that, I don't have a problem. But I love this quote that she said. How to Train Your Dragon star Nico Parker says, I just don't care that people are upset over her casting. I can't value your opinion on my hair. And while it's not tactful, I agree with her.
I don't need to be tactful. It's kind of the fact that you have to say that is kind of disheartening, right? It's insulting that she had to be put in this position, right? Actors just want to act, and if would anyone turn down a chance to play this role, and any actress of any background, and then to have to suffer this in kind of indignity, right? It's sad. And I will say this, Ten Commandments is my favorite movie. It's the first movie I saw as a child when I immigrated from Pakistan. It's the first movie that put me on my spiritual path, looking for God, all of that, right? And Charlton Heston probably didn't look like Moses. I think that's fair to say. Nobody got offended by that. Charlton Heston and Moses, their hair were probably different. Their skin tone were likely different, right? Nobody cares about that, right? And, nobody cares about Mickey Rooney as Chinese or John Wayne as Genghis Khan, right? And while major Japanese actors like Sessue Hayakawa, who was one of the biggest actors of silent films and was a heartthrob up there with Rudolph Valentino, was driven out of Hollywood because white men were threatened by the fact that white women were in love with Sessue Hayakawa, and he was pushed out of this industry. He could have been one of the biggest stars. He was already a big star in silent films, and he didn't get his return to Hollywood until 40 years later when he was cast as the Japanese commandant in Bridge on the River Kwai, for which he got nominated for an Oscar. And so, let's just say Hollywood decides who gets to be a star, and then tells you those are our limited options. We don't have no Japanese people, so we're gonna get John Wayne to play, Genghis Khan because Sessue Hayakawa, we pushed him out of here, right? And so I just think that there is many layers of disingenuousness around the conversation of what we call race swapping. There's a lot of selective memory on many people's parts across the political spectrum when it comes to that.
Absolutely. And that's something that I've been thinking about. I'm just like, when you had the Klingons in original series Star Trek painted, that wasn't, that wasn't a problem. I get it. Race swapping just to do it, yeah, it is lazy, but it's just like you have to think about what's going on here.
Yeah,
Okay,
and
it's
and
not
quite a
as
few
if
really
she
good
does
actors.
not.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's a good actress. I've seen her in several things. Dumbo, couldn't stand the live action, but I did like seeing her, and I liked her in the Last of Us. Plus, her mom is Thandie Newton. Just
By
saying,
the way, I
her
looked her
mom's
up. She's
Thandie Newton.
actually Zimbabwe and Zambian. That's the origin.
Zimbabwe. Okay, okay.
Southern Africa.
Okay. So what she said in here, what she actually said in addition to that is what I liked. She said, there's some people who really love the animated movies and really want to see an exact play-by-play of that film. And I hope that you can watch the new version and find something that you love about it regardless, which is perfect.
What a great
Absolutely
comment.
perfect.
What a
Yeah.
dignified statement.
It's a great comment. It embraces everybody, whether you like it or whether you don't like it. It's like if you're not a fan of it, just give the film a chance. But she says, for the people that just hate inclusivity, hate change, when it comes to that side of things, I just don't care.
Okay, well, I mean that that
Oh,
is
yeah.
coming from a place of personal hurt because nobody wants to be
Yes.
subjected to this kind of garbage. I think a lot of people making these critiques, wouldn't like to be subjected to this kind of garbage. I know because look, I'm nobody, and I've been subjected to all kinds of garbage personally, and there's entire YouTube videos critiquing me. Like, I mean, don't you got anything better to do, right? And it hurts as a human being, and it causes defensive reactions, and I think people should at least be cognizant of that.
Yeah, that's why I said you may not like it, but I said she's 100% right. 100% right. And so I had someone on X say, well, I know, then I don't have to give her my money. I said, well, she's already gotten paid. So
Yeah.
neither here,
And
neither
this
here
movie
nor
is going to
there.
be a massive worldwide hit. It just is. So
It's
boycotting can make no difference. It's not.
it is going to make an obscene amount of money, and people quote unquote boycotting, they were the ones who probably weren't even going to go see this live action to begin with. It's going to make a ton of cash. Why? It ties into Epic Universe that has Isla Berg. That's going to make a ton of money. I've seen the previews in the theater and it looks amazing. So I cannot wait to see this.
Yeah, it's like, a lot of, again, we're going to talk about our friends here who think Sinners is overrated. Well, it became a cultural phenomenon despite that opinion. So, I mean, it just went on. The train has kept chugging on because now we're at the next stage of it. Because now I'm seeing the reactors. I follow a lot of fun reactors, right? People who didn't see it in the theater, then now it's been released, I guess, on streaming and other people watching it. And the reactors are into it for the most part, right? They're really into it. So it's a cultural phenomenon that's continuing despite this sort of YouTube narrative of this word overrated, which seems to be a mantra. I don't like mantras. And again, I'm not accusing people here of being disingenuous in their belief. What I am saying is that certain people repeat mantras that are fed by various influencers in social media, and I don't like that. I like authentic opinions. If you could say I don't like Sinners because this and this, but when a mantra is repeated, that suggests to me incomplete thinking.
I get you. Well, let's head on over to talking about Sinners. Now, one of the things that got my attention right away, not too long after the film was released, Tom Cruise talking about how much he loved the film, that he wanted to do a movie with Michael B. Jordan. And I think when Michael B. Jordan was in London, was it London? I think they were over in Europe, and he saw Tom Cruise, and he was just telling him, how he was just like, wow, I can't believe, you like the movie. He's encouraging people to see it. Isaiah Washington, who I love, you got to follow him on Twitter if you haven't. He says, I'm speechless. Sinners is one of the most entertaining, thought-provoking, provocative, and well-crafted movies I have seen this year, next to Tom Cruise's Mission Impossible Final Reckoning. My goodness, Ryan Coogler had a lot to say. Very inspiring, to say the least. I cannot wait to get back in the director's chair for my Luna, which is project that he's working on. I have heard so many great things about this film, and the numbers do not lie. Let's look at the numbers, shall we?
Let's just see what the effect is, whether people like it or don't like it. Let's just see what the market is saying.
Yeah. So it's made what, 272,545
so far. And the interesting thing is, when the movie came out, even though it was the #1 movie in the United States, the New York Times immediately put out, well, it's not going to make back its budget, right? It more than made back its budget. You know, it had a $90 million budget. So if let's go, general thing is 2.5 times is your good estimate as to making that budget. So we're looking about $225 million. It's already well into profit.
Oh, yeah. And it was money very, very, very well spent. Hey, Paulie says, I'm here to trigger Kamran.
Well, we've done everything except the final sequence. You can keep triggering me. It's fine.
But yeah, it's been making a ton of money. The first week drop was one of the lowest, I think, ever. And it's been out for about 8 weeks. I think it's supposed to be, it's out on digital, but it's out on physical media July 8th. And it's an original IP, because how many times have we said, and when I say me, I mean we, and say us, you know, inclusively, films that are different, films that are not, you know, rehashed or something else, films that take things in a different direction. And Sinners was actually one of those films. I was very skeptical about it at first. But when I went to go see it, I'm like, this is actually original thinking that's going in there. And yes, I know some people are like, yes, it's like From Dusk Till Dawn. It could take inspiration from Dusk Till Dawn. That's kind of like saying that, you know, the Magnificent Seven, they ripped off of the Japanese film for that one. Yeah, they ripped off of Kurosawa.
And Kurosawa ripped off from other things, because art is an evolution. If you're not learning from the past, you know, you're usually bumbling through it, right? Everyone is standing on the shoulder of giants. Even the giants are standing on the shoulder of giants. You know, art is a process that goes back. I mean, filmmaking is the culmination of the theater process. Theater process goes back to ancient Greece, right? And so, you know, you're always learning from, if you're not doing homages to Shakespeare, and where's Shakespeare getting stories like Hamlet? He's getting them from Northern European history. Right, King Lear. I mean, you're learning from stuff, and you're adapting it. That's all art is. Art is water; it flows. And the idea that there's nothing that's been done before. What I think that Coogler did with Sinners is a quantum leap past From Dusk Till Dawn, in level of seriousness and level of artistic mastery, and you know, and thoughtfulness. I think it's a whole level beyond that. So it's a bizarre, you know, comparison to me.
I don't think I finished watching From Dusk Till Dawn, actually.
Yeah, that speaks for itself, right? I've seen this movie now 4 times, so yeah.
So yeah, Amanda says, "Oh yeah, I was just thinking." Yes, Magnificent Seven. Exactly. It's like films borrow from other films. It's like, what's the twist? And the twist in Sinners is where it is, the location, the time period, and also the motivation of said vampire. So that's
and the depth of characters. I mean, I don't think From Dusk Till Dawn has side characters that you fall in love with. I mean, this entire movie, you're like, I want to go back to Cornbread. I want to go back with Perline, right? I mean, these are not the people I came to see this movie for. I came to see this movie for Michael B. Jordan and Hallie Steinfeld, who I have a major crush on, right? I was like, Hallie Steinfeld, I want to go see this movie, right? And then I was like, I want to go back to that random character. I want to go see that person. I want to spend more time with Slim, right? And then you do. You really do. Every character gets all. I don't think From Dusk Till Dawn does that, where you got a side character and you follow their storyline all the way to the end. You're like, I want to see more of that. This guy Coogler loved these characters. He loved these people. He loved these actors. He gave them their chance to shine. Every one of them. I didn't see that in any of Tarantino's movies.
Dusk Till Dawn was good, but it's not an epic. It was a fun watch from what I saw. Dollar Trilogy took from Kurosawa's Yojimbo. Okay.
Everybody stole from Kurosawa. I mean, come on. And Lucas,
I know. Didn't Lucas steal from him too? Actually,
Yeah, no, he was right on. Lucas absolutely openly stole from him and admired Kurosawa. I mean, there's photos of him meeting Kurosawa where he's just in awe. This is like meeting his spiritual mentor.
yeah. So it's like overrated. No, I really don't see that, especially with how the film was constructed. The musical numbers that were in it, it wasn't there just to be there. It tied the story together. And like you were saying, Kamran, all of these characters, these side characters, they're there for a reason. They're not throwaway characters at all. We learn their stories and their motivations as you go through it with them.
And now that the reactors are watching the digital version of it or the streaming version of it, right? I actually, in all the reactors videos, I jumped to the pivotal moment, which is the magical, sequence, the really magical sequence of where the main character Sammy starts playing music that alters time and opens up a window of time past and the future, right? And watching these people's reactions, because I was in the theater experiencing it, but then actually watching people's faces as they see that for the first time, which I have never seen before. Maybe there's an homage or something, but I haven't seen it. I've never seen this kind of filmmaking before. I've never seen this one shot that does this. I'd never seen it. And watching people's faces just go there, you watch, because it's what happened to me. My jaw fell open. It just fell open. It's one of those moments actually I lost control of my physical muscles. I was like, what am I watching? And then seeing that happen to the reactors, you're watching their faces go, oh my God. And then, when someone says, well, it was okay, I'm like, I don't think that's being fair. I mean, I haven't had my jaw drop open in a film in a very long time, maybe in some of the Lord of the Rings sequences.
No, but I agree with you, Kamran. When I saw that was the first thing that I latched onto. I'm like, this scene, it's like, this is a really long shot, the way that it's going and the way that it was constructed. I mean, Coogler took that device from Scorsese. Really, Paulie? Because I'm going to say it's not original. I'd seen it before, but I couldn't put my finger on exactly who did it, because it's a very difficult shot to pull off.
In Goodfellas, there are some amazing, handheld camera shots that are weaving through, crowds and whatever, and they're really remarkable. And he does multiple of these sort of one-shot moves. He did one in Coogler. There's a whole thing where we suddenly see the little Chinese girl going across the street, and you're seeing the whole town in this oneer, right? And you're following her. She goes to see her mom, and so he did a few of those. But that's not the issue. Even if he hadn't done it as one shot, it's the way the visuals of time, of how music creates culture in the past and in the future, and how they're tied together. It's not just Black culture, but Chinese culture, other stuff. I hadn't seen that before. I don't think I've seen that in a Scorsese movie.
Yeah. So that was so unique. I mean, that I could watch that scene over and over again. That's how well constructed it is.
And you should, because you see new things every time. You're like, oh, wait a minute, there was that character over there. I didn't even notice there was that character. And because you're just being swept away by the moment.
Yep. Absolutely. Well, there is this article from the Slate that is very interesting. Usually I don't use stuff from Slate, but in this context I am. Because one of the criticisms that I hear about this film from certain people, I should say, in the commentary / reactionary space, is that this film is racist. And that all the white people are evil in this film. And I'm thinking, did you watch it, or did you watch what you wanted?
Assuming they actually watched it, because I've had people say that to me, and it's clear to me they haven't watched it. Because when you ask them questions, they just shut down, or they unsubscribe, or they vanish, right? Because they can't answer questions because they're saying a mantra.
Yeah, and it's just like I don't get that. There's some people who are just like, oh, the white man was evil. I'm like, there used to be a point in time where it was considered a badge of honor to play the bad guy in a movie.
Well, the bad guys in this movie are very interesting. It's certainly, I don't even think the vampires. I don't think the vampire is a bad guy. That's the amazing thing in this movie. The Irish vampire is so compelling that I'm like, I want to see his entire backstory. I want to follow him from this guy's from 5th century Ireland when it became Christian, right? That's when he's from, right? He's talking about a 1,500-year-old vampire. And I want to see his backstory because Merrick is so interesting and has a point of view about why being a vampire is good for oppressed people like the Irish. Like the Irish, he feels like an oppressed person who's offering freedom from oppression to his black brothers. That's not a villain. That's a monster. I don't know that he's a villain.
No, and actually the Dark Council, now we were talking about that. We're just like we saw the movie, and the vampire, he's the way that he is talking. And he's just like, we can just be all one big happy family.
And he's
you don't have to worry about the KKK coming after you because I've seen what they want to do. You thought they were going to let you buy this place. No. And the two members that he like turned, they're like, yeah. He's like, because I can see.
Which is why I think that comment is, and I know Paulie's in the chat, he doesn't agree on this, right? And I think others, like Shinatsu and others, don't agree on this, but I want to make my point. It's because of that you needed the payoff scene. You needed to see that the KKK was going to come and that they always had, it's a bookend. Like my entire methodology that I teach of screenwriting is bookends, right? That's a beginning. And so the movie is bookended with buying it from this man who is actually secretly a Ku Klux Klan leader, buying the physical property for your juke joint. And then you got to pay that off because this Ku Klux Klan leader is not going to let them just have a juke joint in his town, right? He's not going to let them be economically prosperous in his town. He's not going to let that happen. So that was Coogler's intention. And the middle point, which is what I teach in my screenwriting method, is the middle point is when that is revealed by the vampire. Look, do you understand what they're doing here? This whole thing is set up to kill all of you people. In my opinion, that needed to be paid off. The movie had to end there because that was the book. The whole movie is about this. And the vampire is trying to tell him the truth. You're being suckered, man. You're being suckered by people that want to kill you.
I'm 100% going to disagree with this, and here's the reason why.
With me or with that point of view?
The reason why is given the time period, especially if you have not lived in that particular period of time. The fact that the dude who sold them the property, turned out to be part of the KKK. We're basically going to come back, kill everybody in there as well. It wasn't like the KKK just rolled into town and left in the South during that period. They were everywhere. They were the police. They, were elected officials. They had put themselves in government to basically oppress Black people and oppress other people they did not consider to be white. So that was an everyday reality for folks in that time period. So to have this guy basically plot to come back and kill them, you needed to have that payoff because he needed to suffer for that. And suffer he and the rest of them did. You had to have that.
Yep.
That's just my opinion. Because I think some
people
just do not, it is perfectly okay. And I'm gonna say with my personal bias, knowing how that time period was, knowing how prolific the KKK was, because for some people who do not understand, the KKK came together as a result of Reconstruction.
Correct.
And not only just Reconstruction, but the fact that Republicans pulled out of the South and left the void. And what came in? The KKK, who were basically a terrorist group. So that part at the end, where dude just went off because one, he was a World War I veteran. He fought for a country that did not love his ass at all. At all. So you needed to have that.
Yeah, and it's also just authentic to the world. I mean, how can you not? Because I think part of the problem is many people, I'm not accusing Paulie of this, but I think many people in this cultural moment and the younger crowd doesn't know what was happening in Jim Crow and how deadly that was. It wasn't just you can't walk down this street, right? It's literally like they say when the vampires, it's not that they don't want the vampires to come, or they don't know they're vampires, but the white people, the Irish people, they don't want to come into the juke joint and they don't let them in. And they actually explain, it's like, they seem like perfectly nice people. But if we let them in, what if somebody spills a drink on their shoes? What if someone's looking at that girl a little too long and the KKK is going to show up and everyone's going to be hung and, from a tree, right? That's reality.
That is 100% correct. Because in this particular time period, you had a lot of lynchings that were going on too. My grandfather used to tell me, you look at a white person the wrong way, you could get lynched. This was a reality at that point in time. And it wasn't that they didn't want to let white people in. It's just like, if we let you in, something happens, word gets back, they bring a whole mob over here to burn stuff down. That was also a reality, which is why Haley Stenfield's character, they were just like, well, how come she's in there and we can't come in? They're like, because she's family. Even though she's biracial, yes. There's trust. They know who they are, and that's 100% true. Because my grandmother, she was very, very fair, okay, and she would get mistaken as a white person all the time. She'd go places like where our black people were, like, look, we don't want any trouble, and just like, no, so and so, you know who she is, but I agree, Cameron, you're right. You have people who do not know what that period of time truly was for people living in the South. And perhaps that's more of a cultural black hole, for lack of a better term, that Ryan Coogler went down. But it was very authentic, given the setting of the story.
And I'm going to say something controversial, and I've done it before, but I need to say it because I've experienced it, right? This Jim Crow, it's not that this is over. It's still happening in the world in 2025. I've been to Palestine. I've been there twice. I've been to the West Bank. I've been to Tel Aviv. I've witnessed this still going on today with my own eyes. I've witnessed Israeli soldiers come in and push themselves into my friend's property and take his property in front of my eyes with guns because the settler wanted it. I've seen it, right? I witnessed in Tel Aviv, the nice liberal progressive Tel Aviv. I've witnessed the executive that I was meeting, the big film executive who wouldn't walk next to an elderly Arab woman who was an Israeli citizen. She wouldn't walk next to her on the sidewalk in liberal Tel Aviv. This is happening today. It's happening today. And that may make people uncomfortable. Maybe people in the chat don't want to hear it, some of them. I saw it with my own eyes. It's happening today. And so it's not like why are you talking about something of 1932, man? Because it's happening in 2025 in parts of the world. And some of the people that people like to think are heroes are actually doing this because they don't want to face that they're doing it. So maybe there's a message in 2025 for people to be reminded. This isn't good when people do stuff like this. It's not a good thing.
No, but yeah, I think that's why people are just not aware of what happened during that time period, which in a way is a failing of our education system with what's going on, because this stuff was real. Cornbread, who I love dearly. You see them and they're out there in the cotton fields picking cotton because they were sharecroppers. Yeah, an opportunity they could make money where they would not, because his pregnant wife was like, how much are you paying? Talk to the man. It was a very, very different life. And Smoke and Stack, they basically say, yeah, we were working up north with Al Capone, but we'd rather be down here with the devil we know than the devil we don't know,
because they can navigate
in the north. Yes.
They can navigate what the rules are, right? They know, okay, if I let these strange white people into the juke joint, I might end up getting everyone in here killed, right?
Yes.
I know what the rules are. In Chicago, I'm hanging out with gangsters, and I know the rules of the mafia, but I don't know what the rules are when I enter into a bar. What's going to happen there between the friendly guy who's like, there's no segregation here, right, boy, right? And so I don't know what the rules are. You're constantly trying to navigate a world where you don't know what the map is.
Exactly.
Curious, what's the age group that people are claiming that this movie is racist? I mean, to me, it's just common sense. But then again, we were taught in school about, this era. And one of my world history teachers was a Black woman, and she didn't shy away from talking about slavery and her family. And I just thought, it's just common sense, and it looked clear to me. It's in that time era. What's so racist about that? That was just the reality of, they're depicting what it was like back in that era. So I'm just scratching my head. Like, what?
Because look, I had one person was a member of my Patreon and posted this, the director's racist. And that was their entire commentary on the film, right? And I challenged that. I said, I don't think you've seen this film. And if your critique is that this movie happens to have a Black cast and these white characters are bad because they're KKK, then I would suggest that there's a racist undertone to that presumption. And he got very upset with me because others on my Patreon came and said, what are you talking about? I mean, you're saying it's racist to have KKK people shown as villains? And then they got very angry and they unsubscribed and sent me a nasty message. I was like, first of all, I don't think you saw this movie because you showed me zero evidence you saw this movie. You're just saying it's racist. And then when people challenge you on it, you get angry because you can't answer when someone says, why is showing a KKK person as a bad person racist? Are you identifying with them? And then when you disappear in anger, I don't know what to say to that. Instead of response, I don't identify with them, but here's my reasons why it's racist. Because it didn't have a reason. So it really disturbed me. And I think it's revealing some perspectives, or really it's triggering out certain things in people that they are uncomfortable with when the words come out of their mouth.
Yeah, because I don't
understand what's so uncomfortable about it. I mean, it's just depicting history. I mean, I don't know, maybe it's just the way I was raised. I don't know, maybe because I'm half Latina. I don't know, but I just don't understand what is so freaking offensive about a period movie that depicts, historical accuracy.
Yeah, and
are these people just stupid or what? I mean, what?
Some people are racist. Some people are stupid. Some people are racist, and they don't want to face it. But even watching, and I've seen this movie 4 times, right? It's not just that Haley Steinfeld, the mixed race character who is white passing, everyone thinks she's white, right? Even though her grandfather's Black, right? And she's married a rich white man, so that she can be successful in society in this world, right? But if you watch the film, it's not like that's the only good white person amongst the extras. Like when we see Slim playing in the train station, it's the white women that are loving it and they're giving him money, and it's the white women like, this is great music. You just see the extras reacting. This isn't showing the town is racist. The white people in the train station are loving the Black musicians. If you're not seeing that, it's because you don't want to see it.
And I think that's what it is. People just do not want to see it, because I'm just like, it's kind of like you. I'm like, the KKK folks were the enemy. You do not want to see them get the payback. Like the villain gets what's coming to them in the end. I'm like, you don't
watch Fried Green Tomatoes.
Yeah.
And if you want to see a good KKK,
I mean, if this movie offends you, don't watch Fried Green Tomatoes. Just saying.
No, I just
That's one of my favorite movies.
That just blew my mind. But you also have a group of people, and no, I'm not naming names because y'all know who you are. Didn't give a crap about this movie until it started making a crap ton of money, and theaters were packed, and they had to open up more theaters. Even Variety was like, yeah, it's probably not going to make its money back. And then they had to eat crow when the Monday receipts came in. But people started talking about it. It was making so much money. And I guess some people said, okay, I guess I'll go and see it, which is fine. Some said it was overrated. Okay, you can have that.
Yeah,
but to say it's racist, it's racist is objectively wrong. I think I'm just going to say it's me. I think Zack Snyder is overrated. I do. But when I say that, it's just because I haven't been impressed with what he's done since 300. I just haven't. So I don't get the devotion, but it is what it is. I think when some people say it's overrated, they do not want to give this movie the flowers that they want to give it. Some people may say it's overrated because it's, it's like, you know what? The content just doesn't thrill me. It's like, I've seen a dozen vampire movies. What makes this one different? So I can kind of get that point. But what I don't get is that you have a group of people who have made so much money and reputation off of being so-called anti-woke. And Solomon Thornton nailed it here. It's because the woke culture that has happened for so long, and you have so many YouTubers that claim things are woke, and most of it is not. And that's the thing. Woke has become a pejorative. It's not what it used to be, which was being aware of injustice.
Mm-hmm. Well, that was the origin of the term within Black community and other communities, right? That's how it originated.
Yeah. That's how it was. So like for me, I said, well, the movie like Slumdog Millionaire. Okay. To me, that was woke because it showed something that I didn't know and actually gave me a really good talking point with some of my Indian subordinates at work to talk about them, because I noticed certain class differences that I had to intervene and stuff and say, no, you're not supposed to treat someone that way. We don't tolerate that, here in this country.
And it's a real thing. I mean, I'm from Pakistan. We're next door. We've got some of that left over from Indian culture, but I've been to India, and it is not class, it's caste. I mean,
it is caste. Yeah, it is caste. I've had to have some serious arguments with some people that say, no, you don't treat people that way. But for some people, woke means there's an all Black cast, or there's a woman that's a female, there's a female character, or there's too many women in it, or it doesn't do whatever it is that you think that, that it's supposed to do. And it makes people tune out. And you're right. We do have to reclaim that term because it's been bastardized.
What it devolved to was that, unfortunately, a lot of disingenuous people on the political left started using it performatively. And unfortunately, for a long time, they used it in such a way that it became a mockery of its original intent, right? And so that's where it's gotten to. But it's to give the example you said. I mean, I remember, and it was Paulie that told me, you got to go see In the Heights, because I wasn't planning to see it. I was like, I don't care much about the movie. And then I was hearing all the time, it's woke. I was like, when I saw it, it was one of the best movies I'd seen that year. And I was like, oh, well, why is it woke? Because it's primarily a Latino cast in Dominicans, up in northern Manhattan, Bronx. Well, what is it? And that was why it was woke, because it told a Latino story, and that wasn't acceptable. I was like, what? I mean, have you been to that neighborhood? I've been to that neighborhood. That's what I saw.
Yeah, I didn't see it because I didn't get the chance to, but I remember seeing the trailer. I'm like, this looks like the area in North Philly. It's like it didn't look any it didn't make me think, oh, I don't want to see it because it's woke. But I'll say this. I find it interesting that for decades you had films that were definitely full white people. No one said anything. You had tropes of Black people, Asian people, and other minorities relegated to roles as, the help, nanny, hookers, prostitutes. No one said anything about that being a problem. But now that the world has changed, now that's a problem.
Well, because you've just hit the issue, which it is representations in media, visual representations, they subtly reflect power. And I'm not using cultural Marxist terminology. I'm talking like a straight, normal person. Like, I'm just talking straight here, right? They represent power. When you're in power, you reflect your culture. You don't even realize you're doing it. And when culture begins to change or evolve, which it always does, demographics always change. That's just the nature of the human race, right? And power structures in societies. The minorities eventually take more power with time. It happens in every culture. Then those representations start changing purely from economics of, we want to get this more. We want to get the Latinos to watch it. We want the Chinese people to watch it. So you start changing it, right? Oh, Black people are really into this kind of music. We're going to give them more of that. We're going to make money. Then suddenly some people who were very ensconced in the original way things were shown feel a beginning of disempowerment because something else is being shown. But they don't acknowledge that there was power there in the first place.
Mm-hmm. Very well said. I just find that absolutely mind blowing. Like, you've got to be kidding me. Really? It's like this stuff wasn't a problem then. Now all of a sudden it's a problem now. No, it makes absolutely no sense. But you have a group of people who want to be outraged because they want to be. Some people who do not want the system to change and want to push back on that. But with this particular movie, because of how much money it's made, you cannot ignore this.
Yeah, and it's going to spread. Like, it didn't do very well internationally because, again, a lot of people presumed, Black American story got nothing to do with me, right? It will do better now, I think, in downloads and on DVDs, Blu-rays,
Physical media.
physical media, because word of mouth is spreading. And now, because you're having this reactor phenomenon, I'm seeing people reacting in Britain. I'm seeing people reacting in Thailand.
Yes.
And so it's spreading that way, right? And people are like, oh, this was a great movie. This was an incredible movie. I really identified with the struggle of feeling isolated and, all this stuff. And I'm sitting here in Thailand, right? Guess what? That's why it's universal. If you let go of the presumption that this is a culture that has nothing to do with you, it is absolutely a universal story.
And I found it, especially Rocky Road to Dublin. My goodness.
Oh, wasn't it?
I'm a choreography girl because I'm a dancer. And how they set that up, how it was filmed, man, the villain had the most banging song in the whole.
Those are the two most memorable things. It's the magical Sammy time sequence, and then the Rocky Road to Dublin, where the vampires, he's basically got them all under control. So all these southern vampires are singing in Irish his song, right? But here's how much expertise that Brian Coogler put in there. So I've got friends of mine, who are in the sort of Wiccan community and others, like, Korean and others. And these people point out to me, if you notice how the dance is done, the way that they're dancing Rocky Road to Dublin is counterclockwise, which in Irish culture is how you put a hex on people. It's a black magic thing. That's how intentional.
I was wondering about that because I'm looking at
this is how a demon would do it.
Yeah.
Okay. We doing the other way around. That's how aware he was of what he was planning every single moment. That's what I felt in this movie. Everything is on purpose. That's why when people say that final sequence, unnecessary. No, in my opinion, it was always planned. I mean, even there's little moments you hear in the dialogue where they just briefly mention that they have guns, and we don't ever see those guns, and so you got to pay it off. Chekhov's gun. You only see the guns that they reference in the final sequence. Everything is planned to the T in this movie. It is shocking the level of detail and intention that's in this film.
Absolutely. And another attention to detail I want to say is about the Irish in the South. And I think what some people don't know is, yes, there were some Irish in the South. Yes, Irish as slave owners. I descend from some of them. Some who were indentured servants who were there as well. And right before the Civil War, you didn't have a lot of Irish who wanted to, the ones that newly arrived, to go to the South because they didn't want to compete with slave labor. With that said, the Irish in the South were not considered white. They weren't. Neither were Italians, neither were Greeks, any of that. They were not considered white. So you're in this situation where you're not considered white, but yet you have these Black people who have equal status with you. Now, most of the places, they pretty much lived in harmony, but that was the class strife. It was like, we do not want to be, quote unquote, poor white trash, because that's exactly the term that's been used. We don't want to be classified as poor white trash. We want to be seen as respectable white people. That's exactly the mentality. But that's what's going on in the times. And that was the atmosphere that was going on there at that period of time. So,
and they showed the Irish vampire hides his Irish accent amongst the KKK people, right?
Yep.
He only reveals it when he feels safe to do so amongst the Black.
Yep, because that was the biggest tell, that accent. I tell you. Oh, well, I love talking about this, and I am so glad that Kamran has been here to talk about it, and that Eric can kind of soak it all in. I love good film. I love excellent film, even more. And that was a film that I did not expect to be blown away
Exactly.
as much as I was. But before we go, I got something, another story to kind of blow your mind. I hope
Right.
everyone enjoys this here. We like to put
Here,
some
okay.
fun.
In the woods, talking to an Ewok named James. Girl, what you doing out here? You starting trouble? No, I'm not starting trouble. You want some white cheddar popcorn? Some white cheddar. He scampered up, reached in real slow, snatched it, took a bite. Damn, this is good. You got some more? Leia took her helmet off, and James freaked out. Hold up, you got another head? No. Okay, I'm kind of stupid. Wait a minute, I smell something. What you smell? Trouble. I'm out. James left and Leia went to work. Took out 2 stormtroopers like it was nothing. James came back. Damn, you can fight too? Yeah, I'm a space princess. Kind of what I do. Oh, okay. Well, help me down. Smell good? Have you seen my friends? They're tall like me. Yeah, I've seen them. You about to eat them. The Ewoks were having a good old time. About to eat Han, Chewie, and Luke. Luke was marinating in the Force. All the except this one, because he was an Ewok. Y'all, this is wrong. This is wrong. I don't want to be right.
This is Devin Clark comedy over there on Instagram. I mean, I love seeing stuff.
Well, you know, and there are cultural reactions to things. You know, I remember 2 of my favorite movies that I saw in a black urban theater in Manhattan were did you ever see a Deep Blue Sea? Remember that movie? The big
Yes
movie?
Yes.
Watching that in a black theater with all these young black kids, and when Samuel L. Jackson starts doing his stupid speech and then the shark eats him, let's just say there was a cultural reaction that was very unique and very lovely and memorable. That was that. I don't know if no white audience would react the way I saw those black kids react. It was alive. It was like a juke joint when that happened. That whole audience was up and they were alive.
Funny you should mention the cultural thing, because when I went to go see the Ballerina movie, there's a scene at the end where you know how the Bond villain just doesn't know when to shut the heck up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
black
and
Latino people like, yeah, you need to shut the. Okay, see, that's what you get for talking too much.
And I like that movie, and you know, and you know, we can end on this, but I really enjoyed Ballerina.
I
went
too.
in with low expectations, and it was very, very good. I want to see more of this character. And for anyone who's complaining about Mary Sue, she ain't no Mary Sue. She gets her butt kicked.
She got her ass kicked so many times. Stabbed.
And they make that clear that she's not. They teach her like you cannot. You are a little dainty girl. You ain't gonna be taking down no big strong man. So you gotta fight like a girl. That's the point of the movie, is that she has to learn to survive being an assassin with men that can easily break her in two, right? So that's very real. And you think about it, it's like everybody grumbling on Mary Sue. So it's like, who's the biggest, Larry Sue in this? It's Keanu Reeves. The dude gets shot 100 times and he just gets up and keeps going, right? It's like the Tropic Thunder when the dude gets shot like 100 times, he's still going.
My girl had to use ice skates as a weapon.
Kill people,
yeah, she had to use ice skates. What did the mouse say to the grenade? Bam! I mean. It was. I had so much more fun in that movie.
I want to see more of her. Anna de Armas is a nice Pakistani
filmmaker. I love her. So I love her. She was so. Great.
She's great in everything. She was great in that horrific Marilyn Monroe movie. The movie was garbage, and she was like you watch. She was like, how are we having this incredible Academy level performance in this garbage film that's like one of the worst scripts I've ever come across, and yet her performance is stellar.
And she was awesome. Yeah, Tom, my favorite, the dragon's breath fight.
Oh, gosh. Oh, yeah.
That's all I'm going to say.
It's worth watching. It's a lot of fun. It's fun.
It's fun. And I totally enjoyed it. Totally enjoyed it. Well, folks, we have got to wrap up for tonight. It has been an amazing, amazing show. Thank you all so much for being here. I have the most awesome chat in the world. So before we out, Erica, what do you have going on to let the folks know about, and where can they find you?
Not a damn thing.
See, I love her, honestly. Like, nah, do none.
I'm just hanging out here with you on Spice Lounge and Resort Recon Saturdays, and now possibly Florida Man Sundays,
Oh, that's so much fun.
depending on, work schedules.
Remember my
And
theory?
T3PO. So
My theory,
just
Florida Man, is
stream
the result
hopping.
of the Bermuda Triangle. That's still my theory. It's energy of the Bermuda Triangle. I absolutely believe that. I'm not exaggerating
It
or joking.
is.
It's
It
the
is.
quantum field of the Bermuda Triangle that makes strange things happen in Florida. I believe it.
It is definitely something. It is different here. It's different here, but yeah, I love Erica. So you got to check out her channel. I love that she's doing the stuff that I used to do. Nah, I don't have a channel. I'm just showing up in other people's shows. I actually do miss those days because I didn't have to plan anything. All I did was show up. And it was awesome.
Talk about if I started streaming. Not without boring anybody, anyways.
Thank you, Jamonte, for reposting the stream. I sure do appreciate that.
And a lot of people are coming in right now saying they missed it. Watching the replay, I think we had a lot of fun conversation.
Yeah, watch the replay. Guy from China. Thank you. That guy who lives in China. Thank you.
He's
so
in
much for
Beijing. I know him. He's
subscribing.
one of my Patreon members, and he's a consulting client.
Awesome.
And wonderful writer.
Thank you.
Yes, Matthew is
Thank
in Beijing.
you.
We've talked multiple times in Beijing.
So glad to have all you guys here.
We got people in China watching this live.
Oh, bless you. What is it? Thank you. Is it Shia? I'm trying to learn Cantonese actually.
Well, you can learn it. You can learn it from Merrick, who learns Cantonese in the film by absorbing Chinese.
Yeah, that would be really easy.
When he starts speaking Cantonese, it's so great. It's this incredibly creepy moment when he starts speaking Cantonese because now he's absorbed, a dead Chinese man, and now he's got his mind.
That was crazy. Oh gosh, it's awesome. But yeah, Kamran, where can people find you? Because I've got the link to your website and to your Patreon in the description box of the video. But yeah, what you got going on? Where can people find you?
Those are all the great ways you can buy my novels through my website or Amazon. And the Patreon is a great way to get sort of my commentary on Hollywood. Every now and then get some interesting scoops, but it's a lot of it is just me and this incredible community we've created that's very intelligent and with broad range of opinions, where I sit back and let people argue amongst themselves in the comments, and I learn things. But also it's a way for any of you who want to get professional consulting as a screenwriter or as a novelist. Like for example, we have this lovely my friend Matthew here, who's a Patreon member, who's from China, who has become a recent consulting client. He's working on an incredible script, and I've been giving him advice on it. And so it's a great chance. Actually, if you come on board this month, my rates are going to go up next month because I actually am getting so much consulting demands. I need to raise them to just cover the time. And so if this is your last month to get them they'll still be affordable, but they're going up next month. So come join me. And it's, you don't really get professional screenwriters and novelists offering real consulting. The fact that people keep coming back for more of it suggests that I'm teaching them something of value. So it's a great way to connect with me on the Patreon.
Okay, well, excellent, folks. Kamran has an amazing Patreon. You do not want to miss out. And of course, we will have him here next month, Lord willing, and he can make it, because I love hearing his takes. Love hearing you guys' takes in the chat, and the questions that she asks is just it's perfect. It's nice vibe, which I'm loving. As for me, I always have to ask what day is it? Tomorrow. I'm not going to be doing my Stellar Blade stream for two reasons. One, I can't download the game until 6 p.m. Eastern tomorrow. And two, I have a job interview on Thursday that I have to prep for.
Oh,
so
you've left me for that. Yeah.
Yes. So thank you. So I have to put the blinders on because I have some material that I have to develop. But
you got to focus and get it done. Yeah.
Yeah, I got to focus and get it done. And I can't when I want to play the game with the hot looking chick with the different outfits, because shooting stuff. I can't wait to play this darn game. I can't wait. I love it. But tomorrow, 8:30 p.m., of course, the Dark Council will be on Fatal J's channel. You do not want to miss it.
Oh, you got to bring some of them onto our Tropic Thunder chat. You got to bring them on. That's going to be great. That will be so much fun.
Tomorrow, 8:30 p.m. on Fatal J's channel. So yeah, thank you guys so much. I appreciate it. I so appreciate it. Yep. So it's 8:30. tomorrow on Fatal J's channel for the Dark Council. If you think my show is spicy, well, they're just goofy and I love them.
Yeah, no, they're really,
rocking with them for years.
yeah,
They are
they're good-hearted. They've been good people from the beginning to today. They haven't been changed by the success that they've had, which is nice to see, and they're really gracious.
Yes. So they are awesome. And I think that's it. No resort recon for me on Saturday. Because I got some other stuff that I have to do, places that I gotta be at. Yes, Professor X. He's like, get down. Get down so I can sit on you. That's pretty much what he's saying right now. Let's see. Saturday, 8 p.m. Eastern, watch party for Disney's Hercules. We're going through some of the old school Disney film watch parties, so you do not want to miss that. And of course, Sunday afternoon at 3, I will be playing Stellar Blade. So that's when I'll be playing Stellar Blade. So come on in. See me play that game, which I've been waiting to play. That's why I built this rig back here so I could play Stellar Blade. I'm so excited. So folks, thank you so much for being here. Please do hit that like button, heart this stream, hashtag replay crew. If you're watching this on the replay, much love to all of you. Stay blessed, stay thankful, and we will see you all next time. Bye.
All right, everyone, let's tidy things up.
Autobots, start your engines!
Not under the rug.
We'll keep singing without fail, otherwise we'd spoil it.
Ready, Prime? Let's roll.
Hosing down the garbage pail and scrubbing up the toilet. Ooh.
That's all, folks.
You're still here. It's over. Go home.